Hello, beautiful people. How you doing? It's your boy, the Magician. I'm your host for Street and Cathedral. I hope you all are doing fine. Today, we are going to be treating an important topic titled "The Script for Tomorrow." We're having a legend amidst us, someone who, over the years, he has paid his dues. Maximum respect for him. He's a legend by all rights. I would like to give him his accolades once he's come on board. I can see him online right now, which I'm going to invite him so that we can. You just have to accept, then you pop up now automatically. So yeah, we are going to have a legend amidst us today, and he's one who I respect so much. He's my father, he's my grandfather. Creatively, he's someone I tap from. The wealth of wisdom from him is top notch. Good afternoon, sir. Ẹ káàsán, sir. Mo kí
Èwo
yín,
ni ká
sir.
sọ ní méjèèjì? Good afternoon àbí ẹ
Mo gbọ́dọ̀
káàsán.
dọ̀bálẹ̀ ni. Mo dọ̀bálẹ̀ fún yín, sir.
Irọ́ o, má ṣe yẹn o.
Mo gbọ́dọ̀ dọ̀bálẹ̀ fún yín, sir. Thank you
No.
very much for joining, sir. I
Okay.
really do appreciate. Although
Yeah, I also appreciate you because these things are important. You see, and you are doing a great job. So kudos.
thank you very much, sir. Although I have joined earlier, and some people actually joined. I joined 2 times, so hopefully we'll be expecting more people to join now because I've been back and forth 2 times. So not to waste much of our time, I will just kick off the introduction, then we'll jump into the out of the conversation, sir. But first, let me say this before the conversation, that it is an honor. This is one of my best episodes ever, because I'm being serious right now. This is more like dream come true to me. For some reason, when I was growing up, sir, my mom censored the kind of movies we must not watch and we must watch in our home. And in those books of my mom, mainframe movies seem to be, it went well with my mom that we can watch mainframe movies. Mainframe, Wenimo films, Monzion film, anything aside from that. My mom does not want us to watch Jack Chan. She doesn't want us to watch anything else. So, and right now I've just staged my first play, which I cannot lie. It has heavy influence of people like you. And this is me saying the truth. I'm not cajoling. There is a song from Lagidigba that I watched when I was young. The film was done by Afis Olagunju, if I can remember very well. The main character there was Madame Shola Shoboale. So there was a song Timoko, and it was Jáde wá gbogbo ayé, ẹ̀yin ènìyàn, ẹ wá bá wa yọ̀, aṣeun tẹ́nìkan ò ṣe rí, ẹ wá wòyanu nílá gidigba. So when I wrote Luwo, the song I used was ẹ wá jáde wá gbogbo ayé, ẹ̀yin ènìyàn, ẹ wá bá wa yọ̀, aṣeun tẹ́nìkan ò ṣe rí, ẹ wá wòyanu ní ìmọ́lẹ̀ ayé, Luwo ti gòkè àgbà. And that was me lifting that song for Lagidba. So, and I cannot lie, sir. Your movies like Shaworije, the things still stick like Obo Gbogbo. Those are the things we used to play when we were so little. Like those lessons that we learned from those movies. I really want to appreciate you for the gift of creativity, for your dedication to what your influence in African creativity, movies, writing, what you've done. We really appreciate you, sir. And we words cannot appreciate you enough. The little thing I've just read right now is my own reality. How much more thousands of people that can actually say, this is TK, this is TK. And I can remember when I first wrote my book, I ensured that I searched your location and I gave my first book, which is The Girls of My Parents, to your wife. That is how much I value you, sir. And this is me
Thank you.
telling you that this is more like a dream come true to me. And I really appreciate you so, so much for coming to this, my platform, my podcast, for us to get to know you better, sir.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you for
ladies and
your
gentlemen,
kind
this is
words.
okay. You want to say something, sir?
No, I just wanted to thank you for your kind comments, kind words. I appreciate what you are doing and taking advantage of technology to reach as many people as possible. So this is part of progress generally in the world and in our industry particularly.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is he doesn't want me to call him elder, but I have to add something. So let me use this is Sir Tunde Kelani.
No, no,
He's
please. I don't like the sir either because it is. I think it's more British, because when they, you see, when they go up in life socially, they they sort of give them lordship or something. So
yeah, yes.
they always say, "Rise, Sir Galahad," or Sir something. So I'm not British, so the Sir is not.
Okay.
In this case, it's not relevant.
Then I have to adopt you as my own father then. Because Omo Yoruba ni mi, muje àṣà yé mi, àṣà àti ìṣe yé mi. So I would say, permit me to introduce to you my own father, creative dad, you know, uh, Mr. Tunde Kelani. This
Oh,
is some.
actually, if you like, I received honorary doctorate award from this university about
Oh,
2 years ago. But since I don't do
you do,
titles, people probably don't know that
okay.
I am not, I'm Mr., but then you could say I'm Dr. Tunde Kelani
I,
as well.
I will prefer
Because it's
that
an
doctor.
honor and privilege. It's
I will prefer
an
that
honor and
doctor.
privilege to be awarded
Yeah,
from
yeah,
this city university.
yeah. I think you deserve even professorship already. I will prefer that doctor. So permit me to introduce Dr. Tunde Kelani. He's a Nigerian filmmaker. Permit me to skip that and say he's an African, by all right, he's an African filmmaker whose career has spanned more than 4 decades. He is an household name, and he's going to explain to us the way he has been able to transcend over time and still maintain the uniqueness of that his wine, to still be able to be relatable to both the old, the young, the middle aged, and all and sundry. Um, his works are heavily woven in African culture, particularly Yoruba culture. He is so proud of his heritage. He's doing us proud globally. I would say he's an ambassador of our own culture, our tribe, and famous amongst all his screenplay, which most is an adaptation of Nigerian novels, which I'm still going to come back to that question as well. Why Baba love, to adapt novels. We have Oleku, Thunderbolt Magun, which I've watched when I was young. We have The Narrow Path. We have White Handkerchief. We have Mami. Mami was everywhere. If you have not seen Mami, then I don't know. You didn't grow up in Nigeria. I can bet it. There is Dazzling Mirage. We have a new one on blog right now, which is Cordelia. But he's from my hometown. You see why he's my own father. That's why I'm adopting. I'm not letting him go. He's from my hometown, Abeokuta, Ogun State. And uh, I love when I saw the biopic of Anila Omobuga that you did. To me, the only thing that pained me is that Onya will make you and Lulu said to you, you have made us have this high shoulder, to raise the shoulder high. And looking at your past, digging a little bit in your past, it's not a shock to me that he has worked as a BBC TV and Reuters correspondent. in Nigerian TV. So he has an affiliate in the media as a professional, and he has also, collaborated on many projects, movie projects, and we know one of he has many movies to his to his accolades. You remember when we are talking about there is Shaworije was a blast everywhere. We have Agogo. We have if I remember Yepa. There's Yepa, or is it? Yes, if my memory serves me right, there's Yepa. Then there is another one which I'm trying to I'm trying to remember right now. So he has done a lot in the night. I remember that one. He has done a lot in the Nigerian, movie, and uh collaborated with, also I would say he has influenced other legends that are also, he has passed his baton. There's words cannot quantify the way I love him. I think it's because I have a personal sentiment towards him. That's why my introduction is there, because I really love this man. I respect him. His humility is top notch. And one of the words that actually broke me, that changed me, that started me to say, Dimiji, you have to have a rethink. When I will call Sir, you said Dr. Tunde Kelani. He speaks to me with wealth of knowledge, open my horizon. We've talked, things I cannot bring to the open now. We've touched religion, we've talked family, we've touched a lot of. So sometimes I will just, after having a full conversation with him, I'll just sit down and I'll start asking myself, Dimeji, if Dr. Tunde Kelani has gotten to this peak in his life and he has embraced simplicity, and I've also met Professor Wole Soyinka, very simple to the core. Dimeji, by no chance in your life should you be proud. By no chance in your life should you ever make another person feel less of a human being. And I really appreciate you for that, sir. And you are officially welcome to Streets and Cathedral.
Thank you. But let
Today's
me
talk.
point out, I wasn't, excuse me, I
Okay, sir.
wasn't a BBC correspondent, but I was the BBC World Service cameraman in Nigeria for a few years. So my responsibility was to provide visual interpretation of the story, and work with the correspondents. That's two different
Yeah, thank you very much. Because it says also here that your assignment for Reuters have actually include you traveling to Ethiopia and also to Zimbabwe on its independence. That you've
I
actually
actually,
also.
I think I was in NTA and worked with the late John Chiahemen,
Okay.
that international journalist, professional journalist, one of the best in the country.
Okay.
And he later moved from NTA to Reuters. But when I think my last year in NTA, we did a lot of traveling together. I'd gone to Ethiopia especially to look at the famine that was in Walla with the late Victor Folivi, another best journalist that we had in Nigeria, talents. Then later with John Chairman, we went to Zimbabwe before, during, and post the election in Zimbabwe. And we had to go to Mozambique also. So we did a lot of traveling, particularly in the Africa.
Okay. I think now I understand. Yes, because your portfolio here on online actually is what I delve into, and most of the things that you've told me. So these are the things I try to pick from. Thank you very much, sir. So today's topic is the script for tomorrow. The script for tomorrow. And without mixing words with flattering, sir, I want to actually ask you. This is me asking you a very direct question. How do you do it that the same energy or the same way we see someone like Fela Anikulapo Kuti used his own gift of music to prophesy, to see the future, to predict, and things are coming out from his music as if this man is even living with us in our current state. Same is also applicable to you. I've seen many excerpts of things you brought up from your movie, and I'm like, does Daddy knows that this thing is going to happen, or he has seen 20 years ahead of his time? Your movies, your scripts are different and are more prophetic to in nature. How do you come about that, sir?
Well, as you know, filmmaking is comes together is multidiscipline in the sense that after I left London International Film School and became independent, I already had stories that I wanted to tell. Most of them coming from source material, which is literature. You understand? So the best thing I could do was to go and collaborate with the writers and the authors because I had read them already. So it was no brainer for me to go that path. The first production that I did with some of my friends was Adiba Falitis, what you can translate to English Idamo, is the dilemma of Reverend Father Michael. And this is from his book, Idamu Padi Mikailu. And when I read the book, I knew, well, let me start with this one. It looked easy to do. And we embarked on this project. And the story was very simple, but the clash of our culture and the foreign religion. Catholic priest in the town, who has a modest congregation. And one young boy, got into an armed robbery gang. He became the youngest member of a robbery gang. So on their first outing, they broke into a house and robbed the person, and they gave him the gun and said, now shoot him. So this boy, either he closed his eye or not, just pointed the gun and shot. So the man died. From that point, he couldn't live without crying. So he now thought about it. Well, I'm Christian, I'm a Catholic. So he now goes and meet the Reverend Father for the usual confession. So he simply told the Reverend Father, please, forgive my sin. Tell God to forgive my sin. And said, my son, what have you done? And he said, I killed somebody. I actually shot somebody and he's dead. And the Reverend Father said, well, that's serious, but don't worry. You'll be forgiving your sins and everything. But he says, go and report yourself to the police. And the boy said, am I mad? Am I crazy? Maybe you said that you are forgiving sins. And okay, this is between me, you, and God. So if you are forgiving me, then God has forgiven me. And the man said, the reverend said, no. You still must go to the police and report yourself. And no, I'm not stupid. Now that I have confessed to you, and you know that I killed someone, then you go to the police and tell the police that I have killed someone. So it became
a clash
in that sense. Well, I don't know. I can't remember how we ended it, but it's just one of those things, one of those signposts.
I think from that story, it's the believability is 100% because there's a clash of interest already. The Reverend Father has an obligation. From his own perspective, he cannot tell the confession of his own, and
now the boy says, I'm not going to go to the police. Well, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to tell them that I did not. That's why I came to you.
Picking it from that, sir, your films often focus on Yoruba traditions and narratives. How do you balance the need for cultural authenticity with the desire to reach a broader audience?
Well, it's not desired to reach a broader audience. I'm a storyteller, and I started in oral tradition when I came to the family compound at Abeokuta from Lagos at age 5. Everybody was telling me stories, and they were oral stories. So I started from orality, before I went into literature. So by the time that I left secondary school, I had enough stories to start to tell, but and it touches everything. That's why primarily I have done more adaptation from literary source than perhaps as much as any other filmmaker in the whole of Africa. Because I read a lot. I listened to what they were telling me. I was part of a community, and I observed everything about the Yoruba culture. Then it has to be, because global cinema is about identity. It's identity. Because the Japanese, they will make their films in the Japanese language. South Koreans will do it in their own language.
Korean,
Chinese will do it
Indians.
in their Then, as a Yoruba, as a Nigerian, as an African, I could best express myself in my own language as well, because that's what I bring to the table. Globally, everybody shares their cultural experience. Why should my own be different? I couldn't express myself in European language, any of the European languages, because there's nothing, I can't have the opportunity to describe, and paint for the owners of my own. And it's just not ordinary owners of the language. We are talking about 40 million people in the homeland, and then in diaspora spread around the whole world. So my primary obligation and duty as a filmmaker is to reach that audience, which is mine first, and then consider the Yoruba and the diaspora. That's what I have to do. We have done subtitling in English, we have done it in French, and think we have the Portuguese version of Shawode subtitled. So those are my responsibilities.
I like. That's why I said you are an ambassador of our culture. I purposefully pushed that out so that people could actually get to the heart of who Dr. Tunde Kelani is. I've been wanting to ask you this question personally.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
Please, I'm not that formal. I just said that as a means of introduction. So drop the doctor and just TK.
Okay, sir.
By the way, it's a professional name. It's not my total name, but it makes the communication between us a lot more easy.
Okay, sir. I would definitely call you Elder TK. It's just,
No. Listen, elder in some kind of church, because they use it a lot. So you'll be misleading people if you call me elder. I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
sir.
just TK.
Okay, sir. I've been wanting to ask you this question personally. In Shawaruje, the symbolism of the masquerade represents power and governance. Can you elaborate on how folklore shapes your storytelling and its relevance to contemporary Nigerian society?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if there is the masquerade represented in Shawarode, but there was masquerade in the sequel, which is Agogo Ewo.
Oh,
Because it's the story of Areku. Well, you are right. We could in part 1 and 2, but we just decided that they'll be separate stories, but they are sequels.
okay.
And that's important too, because I come from the lineage of Amagogo. I am Ogogo Kulodo Nigbori. My grandparents, they adopted Islam. And that side of us is there, but it's in the blood, you see. So I'm always excited to see the Egungun, because in one Egungun, it's a lot of stories. And if you ever have witnessed or watched the Egungun performance, that is performance under the mask, they were the people who were practicing theater. They are essentially theater people.
Theater, yes, I believe.
But they had obligation to the society, entertaining the length and breadth of Yoruba land, even beyond Yoruba land, entertaining without taking money, free. They just have a retinue, they pack everybody, they go on the road. After the farming season, after the harvest, they just go on entertaining people. And it was our late father, Ibato Gunde, who took it to the stage, to the professional stage and charged gate fee, So all this had happened, I understand, maybe 200 or 300 years before Nollywood was born. You understand? So
Yes, sir.
it's a part of the Yoruba heritage. The performance started under the mask, and then you went to the stage, and then you went into television, radio and television, and then you went to film. With the advancement in technology, and ended up on media and YouTube and all those platforms. So it's a long history that had to be studied.
Study. I appreciate that, because while I was in school and we were, discussing around the origin of drama, we were told drama originated from Greece, from the worship of Dionysus, the ritual. And I'm like, wait. On my Belkutanimi, I see, I see a lot of very, very colorful aesthetics around Egungun, around even ọjọ́ tí wọ́n bá fẹ́ ṣe òòṣà tó yẹ pé wọn lọ́sùn, people come out with a lot of this, and I'm like, how could you tell me the origin of drama is in Dionysus when relatively we can actually also access our own? So I love the way you are balancing it, because you pitch tent heavily with our own tribe, our culture, and which makes me and this is the reason why I'm also endeared to your works, which honestly will lead me to this next question. Your films are known, you created the standard, which is the truth. Your films are known for their vibrant visuals and elaborate costumes. How do you approach the visual aesthetics in your films, and what role do they play in enhancing the narrative?
Well, I'm a part of an environment, and I make films that has a bit of me and my environment in it. And over time, when I was growing up, I had been privileged to be at the heart of that culture. And as soon as I was conscious, especially after my secondary education, and I got into photography, I traveled a lot. And it wasn't just that I focused on performance. No, I was inspired by the in fact, the art, the music, you understand, the design, the painting. For there's a time, the Oshobo artists, I just went to meet them, and from that point, I followed them everywhere because I was interested in what they were doing. And all these things are considered as superior art to my filmmaking because it is direct from the source. When Lamidi Fakeye, may his soul rest in peace, may he rest in peace, I had to go and find him because in my secondary school, we did either carving or something, and I tried to carve, and I really was not successful. But imagine a Lamidi Fakeye's work. Every time he creates one, he's probably going to end up abroad because they will buy. Imagine somebody goes into a forest. I want this one. Let me cut it. And you are almost apologetic, as if it's a ritual, because it's like apologizing to the tree that they had to cut it. And after that, he sits down with his carving knives and everything, and start to work on this tree, cutting this and carving that. And at the end, when you see what he has done with it, it comes from spirit, his spirit. And then it's rooted in the culture, because whatever he produces must reflect, he always reflects an aspect of the Yoruba culture. It's the same. It's the same when we go for a story and we decide. First of all, it has to be from a material. You have to write it anyway. So the writing of it is a superior art, because without it, there's no story, there's no film. You may conceive a story in your head, but you still have to put it down. So I don't bother myself much. I just find the writer who can write what I'm about to produce at a particular time. So it ties to, that's the thing about filmmaking. It's so collaborative that as a director or producer, you assemble the best people who are experts in their own right, to contribute, to deliver, to have an opportunity to take part in this thing that combines everything else. So for me, it's the music. First of all, starting from the right, and then maybe you go to the design of it, and then after that, you begin to assemble a team. You need a cinematographer you need a director who selects a cinematographer, who selects the camera people, and then you need sound, and then you need simple things like costumes.
Yes.
And you have to think about
Settings. Lighting.
Performance itself. Lighting is part of the. Look, all these things happens, and after about the period of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, most of them move on. Then you are left with bringing this film to life, and then finding out which music it is. Let me compare that simply with the egungun. Suppose people for some reason come together and say, we are going to make this egungun. In Yoruba, wọ́n máa ń sọ pé a fẹ́ ṣẹ́ eégún, wọ́n fẹ́ ṣẹ́ egungun kan. They even have to have it. Then, Omani theme, you have the theme. Wọ́n lè pè lórúkọ, you have sort of a title. Ajamala, Ìṣàwòrò, Injini, Olóòlù. You see, they have names. And then the design also portrays the inner character of that egungun and what it represents spiritually. You understand? Then the combination of the color. After then even the mesh is something special. The gloves, that's special also. The footwear. If you see the footwear of egungun in Ajashe, Porto Novo, you'll be surprised at so much artistry. And after the egungun is ready, then they will decide what song shall we be singing behind it. So they compose the song. And then what drum shall we be drumming? They compose the drumming. When particularly will it come out? And you see, and if it's a performance egungun, it can become under the mask, right in your presence. It will turn to a snake, or perhaps a lion.
There's even one I saw recently.
Or a
There was
boa
nothing.
constrictor. And
There was nothing. It just elevated.
no, there's nothing. People create all these things. So similarly, my work is not too far away from that, except that I have to express myself as well. So it becomes a point when you have to define a cinematography of filmmaking. Is it art or science? So you realize, of course, that it is art. Everybody knows that, but it just demands some scientific theory and practice, to achieve it. So it is the same. It is living in you, it's in me, it's in everybody, including us as Africans. So if you take it from that level, and for the fact that what excites me most about filmmaking is that it is an opportunity for me to learn forever. I learn every day, every time.
which
Stories,
is which is
history.
very amazing, and humbling at the same time. Very humbling to our generation. To be honest, sir, as much as you've schooled me with less words, but more of your character about humility. I'm so blessed to have people like you, Sarokbu Ewinla, to be connected with, Mr. Fatah Adieloja, Professor Wole Soyinka, which I do not take for granted. In fact, I always just thank God. And I always tell my friends, my peers, that if these people have done a lot and they still maintain a level of decorum and simplicity, then it speaks to our generation to tread carefully when we start saying, "Do you know who I am?" And I love the fact that you talked about creativity, you talked about collaboration, which I love the way you made it profound, where everybody has to come together, add their piece to make everything work out together. But now there is also one thing you are known for, sir, which is addressing social issues. And this, I believe, you take conscious effort to make sure that anything that is sticky must not just be entertaining. I think you can speak for yourself, but I think it's deliberate. But your films tackle pressing societal issues such as corruption and gender inequality. What motivated you to use cinema as a platform for social commentary, and how do you hope your work influences public dialogue?
Well, you see, I'm lucky, because I'm one of perhaps few people in this world who are doing what the passion they had for something, even till now. So that is one clear thing. And my filmmaking make it possible for me to function in the society and to have a voice in it. And I'm so lucky that I'll forever be grateful to the Nigerian audience or African audience for listening to me, and it's able for me to create a broad fan base. Otherwise, I'm not in front of the camera. Why should they know me? Why should they know there's a Tunde Kelani? Or pay attention to a set of films that came out of nations. Then a part of me must be in the film. It must reflect my environment. It must touch literature. It must touch our history, touch our experiences. So basically, those are the building blocks for anything I do that excites me. I've been influenced by primarily the Yoruba literature, the Nigerian literature, then African authors, and all these things. And once I read a story, it stays in my head. So it has been possible for me to develop a bank of imagery,
Experiences of
experiences, and so
stories.
on. So sometimes this one comes up, and I didn't do it by myself. Again, it's my collaboration with the academics, because I just went after their books. I read everything I could, starting with Dio Fagunwa, the 5 books of Dio Fagunwa.
The
The
our
formula to know the 5 books. If you don't know the 5 books, in fact, some people have commented that if a Yoruba person did not read the 5 books of Dio Fagunwa, that person. Luckily, there have been 3 translations of the 5 books, which I have, but that started me off. So it was easy for me to compare. And sometimes I've been thrilled by the Bible because I've read all the fascinating stories in the Bible. For me, it's, I have. And then everything I could read, I have tried in a sense. So what I did was as soon as I came back from film school, I was going to start making movies. I went to after that, I went to Akim Ishola, and my collaboration with Akim Ishola has been the most productive, of my entire career. If I did not stick to all these things, there couldn't have been Tunde Kelani today for me. So I'm forever
Wow.
appreciative.
Wow. Sir, what you are doing right now is, as a writer, listening to you, one of my biggest icon legend. But as a writer that I am, listening to you, you're making me feel very blessed. Let me use that word. That you do not hide it, that writers have heavily influenced your craft and creativity. And I love this because most people just think that um, being being affiliated to screen motion, our motion pictures, is more of you just doing everything does not connect. And right now, what you are doing now, you are encouraging more writers to actually start to see that they have they have future. They are doing something well, because if someone like TK could be heavily influenced, I could bet that this is also the same for many. Maybe they've not just been asked. This is also because to listen to you say all these things is really, really, really inspiring to me as a writer. Yes, and someone commented the Obujo Ode series. Yes, that's what Baba is saying. Is the Obujo Ode series. Yes, and that's what he meant by the Diofagoa series. So I'm going to ask you the next question, because we're now moving into Cordelia proper. But before then,
Now,
we missed.
yes, just before then, let me
Okay, sir.
just let people know that unfortunately, the present generation, Nigeria has become a nation without reading,
Hmm.
a nation without books. We are not reading anymore. I'm afraid there has been a lot of distraction, especially in the new generation, for all the social media. So they are reading less and less. And as for writers, the reason why the first generation after became famous is that control of their primary language first, before the European language. They were connected with the culture. They were rooted in the culture. So from that point, that is going to arm you creatively to write. But if you cut yourself from that culture and everything, you become garbage in, garbage out, because you don't own the secondary language you are going to express yourself in. Even if you started from your culture, you have you live your culture, you eat it, you breathe it, and you want to write in another language, you are probably going to think and conceive
In your
that
mother tongue.
writing before you put it down in another language.
Yes.
So your culture, your language, your history, your background are your power, to reaching out to all audiences. So basically, I just wanted to point that out. So Akemi Shola, Femi Oshofiso, Adiba Faleti, Baba Adilano, Odunjo, Soprano Poensi, Chinua Achebe, and all the others have a good grasp of their primary language and culture. That is why they become famous.
Yes, that's true, and I could see that in Professor Wole Soyinka's because I always say it. The first awakening I've got creatively was Professor Wole Soyinka, and that was The Lion and the Jewel. I've been reading when I was young, but it seems as if the moment I read Lion and the Jewel, something told me that I could actually do this, because I could see that this story was not far-fetched. It's not telling me about snow that I've not experienced. It's not telling me about things that I needed to go to dictionary. Then I further read no longer at Things Fall Apart and all. Then I started getting endeared to that. Oh, before I read Kamara Laye, Kobinaseki, Aikoyama,
Okay.
LSN Go, Nawale Sadawi. I've read a lot, but I always give it to Professor Oloshenka's The Lion. And before I read Death and the King's Osman, I could relate with it. It was real. It was something that even if my grandma told me under Tale Under the Moonlight, I would understand. And you are very, very right, because while he was writing in English, it was relatable to me as an African child reading it. King Baruka, Teacher Lakunle, and I think that was what influenced your adaptation CD Ilujile as well. Because
Well, by the way, I didn't release it because I'm going to remake it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm anticipating for that too, sir. So we should move to your new release, Cordelia. Before Cordelia, we missed you for 4 years, sir. We missed you. And, in the scene, there are fantastic people. I've seen you work with. Big shout out to uh, Sir Kunle Afolayan, to big shout out to him. I've seen you work with a couple of people, and in my mind, I was like, Baba, our fan, we, your fan, we are expecting something. Then finally, Cordelia came. But within that time, people want to know, was it that you were trying to understand the new technology? People want to know, did you take a break deliberately, or was it that you were working on Cordelia within, that short space of time? So before we now delve deeply into Cordelia.
Well, I had Cordelia for almost 15 years. As a
Wow.
matter of fact, when it was because someone called Orebi brought the small novel to me, Cordelia, written by Otunba Lanko, which is the pen name for Professor Femi Oshofison. And once I read it, you could read it at one sitting. I knew I had to go after Femi Oshofison right away because I saw the possibilities in the book. I loved it. But when I got to Professor Femi Oshofison, I was surprised that I'd come because of Cordelia. And he said, I don't know what you do if you see Mami. And he goes in and brought Mami. And then I read a few pages of Mami and said, no, this is the one I'm going to do first. Then I can come back to Cordelia later. So that's the story of Cordelia. Well, so Mami came, and then nothing about Cordelia until 2021. And sometimes this work, these films, they have their own time.
Yes.
Any film I make will decide when it
The
will come
time
to
they want to
life.
go out.
When the time is come to life.
What you just said
So
now is deep.
nothing.
Only the creative can understand what you just said now.
Yeah, because by the time you make this film, at the end of it, you realize that this film, maybe spiritually, has a life of its own. It's going to dictate to you. But Cordelia has given me the greatest challenges. At first, that it's going to be a fast turn, but it is not. It didn't. I didn't. Later, I found that I learned that it will come out at its own time. First, for the story is a cool story. It's like looking back over our shoulder. One of our experiences of military coup, although coups are no longer fashionable in Africa, we've passed that point because we are in democracy now.
Yes.
Robot democracy. This is different from putting a gun at our heads and say, no, I'm now your ruler or leader or head of state or something. And people did not, they did not take part in governorship. But democracy gives everybody the opportunity to be part of it, to vote in who they like. That is far better than the gun at your head. So that is gone forever. But then it is part of our history. So it gives you an opportunity to look at one of the military coup, but particularly how it affects ordinary people. The Yoruba say, when they leave home for every morning, say, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ kí n gbà kàgbákò mo ṣe ń rìn, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ kí n gbà kàgbákò mo ṣe ń lọ, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ kí Ọlọ́run oríṣiríṣi àdúrà ni mo ṣe ń jáde lọ, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ kí n pàdé ikú lọ́nà, ohun tó máa jẹ mí, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ ká pàdé ohun tó máa jẹ wá. That's what people say. But when there's a coup or natural disaster, things happen. And people who are in any way connected with this are dragged into it and they suffer. So this just happen when there's a coup, not about the coup itself. There's so many things going on in a lot of drama going on in Cordelia. So until once you get into it, Cordelia grabs you and never let you go until you get to the end of the film. And you
One of the
cannot
things,
predict what
one of the things that
you
grabbed
cannot
us,
predict them.
one of the things that grabbed us, we saw you acting. We finally, I know when I saw you on the screen, I was like, I have to watch this. Like, it's so surprising. So my question now is, although it's a funny one, so Baba didn't just come back to tell us that he has a story. Baba now came back and tell us that you see that AMPC award. I'm a job bad this time. I know it's a joke, but I'm just saying. But seeing you acting is so refreshing, and it's. I want to ask: is it something that you've done before, or because I don't often see you on screen? I see you as someone who loves the camera so much. You're not really bothered about appearing in the screen. So what really
No,
happens?
yeah. Listen, the camera is only a tool. As a cinematographer, the principal tool of cinematographer is light. We are painting with light. You see, we can visualize something. We can paint it or draw it or something. But in this case, it's film. So we have to use a camera. And camera is only about 4 or 5 weeks in the whole process of bringing a story to life. So people come around the camera, and so that's only about 4 or 5 or 6 weeks. They go again, and the film might take 3 years, like Cordelia, to come out. So there's serious work going on all the time. So I don't approach cinematography just with a camera. It has to be designed. So let's leave that
Okay, sir.
aside. As to my acting, because I've been influenced definitely by the theater, especially the Yoruba traveling theater. I've experienced the theater. I respect the theater. I enjoy the theater more than film.
You love the
So,
theater more than the.
yeah, I got my inspiration from literature, from the theater, especially Yoruba traveling theater. I photographed more than 20 of those films when they were working on film. And of course, I have great mentors in my development. Baribato Gunde was one of my mentors. And then all the best African broadcast managers, TV broadcast managers in the whole of Africa, I learned under them when I was in Western Nigerian television, where my career started. So until recently, we are losing them. But one of my mentors that's still alive, who witnessed my beginning and development, is Yemi Farumbi, because he was there during the process of my employment and selection for training at the Western Nigerian television. And he's a mentor. These are people who see a work and discuss it with me, or hear something about me and say, Tunde, we had that, and I say, what did you teach me? This is what you taught me. Professor Olenika is one of my greatest mentors for the opportunity that I have access to a man like that. I couldn't be arrogant in any way because I'm a product of my culture. So they know me. They know my birth. They know my beginning and everything. So how could I be anything? How can I be arrogant
Well,
in
I
any way?
appreciate. We have a lot to learn
So
from what you just said now.
let me more about Cordelia. So we started Cordelia, and it's a collaboration with the music department of Delaware, University of Delaware in the US. The music was composed by Michael Ogunlade here, and the music was arranged, orchestrated, and performed in the US. So one of the things to look out for is the music of Cordelia, because it's a cross nation in the sense that it is what the founder, the orchestral, the professor, James Anderson, had in mind when he started the project called Cultural Fusion. So in this case, Cordelia is part of the cultural fusion between Nigeria and
In the
the
West.
school, University of Delaware in the US.
Okay.
So the music to it was performed by a 75-man orchestra,
Wow.
for the film. And so that takes time. And besides, Cordelia, I think, is the first of the films to end my career. So Cordelia is first of the films I will make before I call it quits.
Wow.
So ended time and everything, and I'm happy that we got as far as we went. And it'd be nice if people for the moment get entertained in the drama, but particularly remember our history and then celebrate literature and celebrate the combination of literature and the visual medium like film. Because adaptations are, I love adapting these stories, because they're primarily, not a story you just cook up, not garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
part of us. That's what you get out of it. So Cordelia is so special to me. And as saying that acting or not acting, well, I don't act, but I celebrate actors because they are wonderful, wonderful, blessed, talented people. Sometimes when there's a stage performance and I look at the characters on the stage, once they come off stage, I can't recognize them again. It happened even in Cordelia. After Cordelia came out, when I see one of our stars, it might take me some time to remember, because this is somebody totally created being. Now come off that. It's like an eagle to me, because you don't know who it is.
Yeah. Yes.
We have come from above and join us mortals again. That is what actors and actresses are like to me. The talent, they're so special. So Cordelia is different in a sense. It might be not the usual TK film or mainframe film, but it is special. And I hope everybody will try and see this film.
Wow. With what you just said right now, the Cordelia, the musicality involved in it, the the collaboration with the University of Delaware, 75 man orchestra.
The collaboration with the University of Ibadan and the collaboration with Nigerian Army. Before, it's a cool story. So it got to a point where I had to meet the Chief of Army Staff, General Farouk, then in headquarters at Abuja, to get permission to make that film. And he supported us and gave us permission and assigned us to second division Nigerian Army in Ibadan. And then second division gave us access to the 81st Battalion in Mokola. So this
A lot
is
went into it. I love the
a,
details.
a lot went into it.
Wow.
And particularly at the end of the film, one of the music we selected, Orlando Julius, ìwọ olólùfẹ́ mi jọ̀wọ́ máa kọ̀ mí sílẹ̀ ní gbogbo ayé mi ṣogbọ́. We sent it to be orchestrated, and that we ended the film with this music. And what pained me most was that Orlando Julius died before the music was done.
Wow.
So we finally dedicated Cordelia to the memory of Orlando Julius, OJ.
May gentle soul rest in peace.
Amen.
This is me asking now because I'm very sure you've not just whet people's appetite. Even my own appetite is whet. And I'm asking you, sir, will Cordelia be brought to United Kingdom cinema?
Well, at the moment, Cordelia is licensed to Film One for distribution. They are doing the distribution. So after the run, cinema run in Nigeria, then perhaps that will be clearer. And then I haven't answered your question about me acting.
Yes.
Occasionally, I find myself acting, and I think my greatest achievement in acting was a film that was called Mr. Johnson, made in Jos. It was a worldwide pictures production, an international film. We came to Nigeria, and Pierce Brosnan, the 007, playing 007,
Yes.
James Bond at that time,
James Bond.
was the lead cast. And he was playing a district officer called Rodbeck when in colonial times. And they looked at me, because I was the third assistant director on the project. But they cast me in the role of his houseboy. So I have the first credit for acting internationally,
Wow.
playing playing the houseboy of Rod. So if you find it anywhere, you'll see my credits on it. And then, of course, remember, I acted in Anila as well as that
Anila,
cameraman
yes. Yes.
during when I was interviewed. And then my participation in this mysterious cyclist that ran into problem. In fact, almost lost his life from the character of Professor Adekunle, William Benson, who was crazy, mad, and dealing with his own internal problem, and he almost knocked me down. I think I should consider joining the guild, Actors Guild in Nigeria
Yeah,
by now.
you have a high chance of winning an AMVCA.
Nigerian Guild of Actors. Maybe I should join
Yes,
now.
yes. It will be an honor. Yeah, we're rounding up, and I just have two more questions to ask. You've not answered that one that I just asked you, which, yeah, you said film one and all, but with the fact that Delaware University surfaced, so I want to believe there's an international, you travel internationally with Cordelia. USA
Well,
is
I
in.
don't, yeah, of course, if the opportunity come, we will do it. But now, I have no direct contact.
All right. The reason why I'm asking is because I have a lot of people, because I kept posting you ever since Cordelia, and for the promotion of this our session, I kept posting you. I have someone who asked me, where can I get the film? I'm like, Baba, this is not the era of me pirating or trying to go to Telegram to go and see a recorded version of all. Let me just come to this session. Let us hear from the horse's mouth, and let us actually also support and watch the clean version the right way, because that is the best way. Because if I do that, I'm a creative myself, and I wouldn't want anyone to do that on my own project. So I don't support boycotting. So and I know for sure that a lot of people here would actually, because your name is an household name, a lot of people would actually want to watch. And sir, this is me just adding an icing to the cake. The influx of Nigerians in the diaspora now is enormous,
Of course,
across
yes.
the United Kingdom, enormous, and young population. So I really think that in any way, I would also want to support, but in any way, I really think you should consider Nigerians in diaspora too, who we actually love our culture. And when you bring these here, I'm very sure they will troop out and want to come and watch, just come out. And with the fact that TK is an household name, people know they're not wasting their money. It is
Yes.
so people will actually troop out. So I really want you to consider that, sir.
Thank you. Yes,
Yes, sir.
I'll take that advice. I'll be, when the
Uh,
time comes, I'll be ready. And I've always appreciated people at home and abroad.
yes, sir.
So it's a
Yes, sir.
duty, it's a responsibility that we have to undertake.
Yes. Finally, before I ask my final question, me personally, I find it hard to pick any of my favorite work, of your favorite work. Any. It's more like the more you bring out something, I just fall in love with this one. It's like it's a new face. You know, it's always a new face with your project that you never you never just produce anything that I have never loved. And that's I've spoken with a lot of people also here who when we now talk about household names in the industry, your name always come up. Yeah, we talk about the new cats, the new people that are actually also doing it great, like Kemi Adetiba, Moabudu, Kunle Afolayan, but your name is always there. It's like everybody just puts you one place. And to be very honest, it is a great honor. I'm saying this right now because I want you to know that this is beyond flatter. This is me saying it with all sincerity in my heart because I know that when I honor the great, I also pave way for my own greatness. You are a legend, sir. And I'm giving you
Ah,
your flowers right before you. And I'm
no,
saying
wait.
thank you.
Just wait there. I'm looking at Professor Wole Soyinka at 91. He is the legend. We are just the followers.
Yes, I know. I always reference him too. But we cannot also take your dedication, your craft away from you. You have actually, and I hope you would also release CD Illegile because of the fact that that is actually the starting point of my creative. Me personally, I would make sure that CD Illegile, I I don't just watch it. I make sure that it's in my archive permanently. That I because that is the starting point of God opening something in my brain and saying, "Do you know you can actually also do this too? You can create a story, you can write." It was through that work of Professor Wole Soyinka. He's a great legend, and your works from Shawuruje, from everything you've released that I've ever watched, has always been didactic, profound. Have been engaging us. In fact, I always remember we have arguments in our house, which is very good for the mind. Intelligent arguments after your movies. From Magun to we always who is to blame? Is this the girl? It is the man. And that is what my mom enjoys. For us to now start arguing, intelligently, and she now sees everybody coming from different angles. Your movie did that, and also widened my scope. I just want to say thank you because this is one of the best episodes I've ever had in my life, and I appreciate. That's why I'm going to be treating this specially, dearly to me. So, can I move to my last question, sir?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, why not?
The last question has a theme called future vision. You said something that it's the truth. You said Cordelia marks the beginning of you rounding up. That actually had an effect on me, even though it's the truth that everybody will round up sometime. But I wish I never had that. But I know it is just the reality of things. But there is something we want you to leave with us right now. As you look towards the future of African cinema, sir, what changes do you envision for the industry? And how do you see the role of emerging filmmakers evolving in this landscape? Everybody, you can start dropping thank you, sir, in the comment box as a response to this. You can ask questions, you can drop your love in the comment section. Let us appreciate him because he has a very beautiful soul, to be honest. He is humble to a fault that I believe that if in any way I offend the creator, his name will come up that didn't you see someone like TK that I brought your way? So King excuse to me. So please let us appreciate him. So that's my question, sir. As you look towards the future of African cinema, what changes do you envision for the industry? And how do you see the role of emerging filmmakers evolving in this landscape?
I don't look at the future of filmmaking in Africa. I look at Africa itself.
Mm.
That's the most important thing. Look, listen, as far as I'm concerned, I think we have disappointed the whole world. We have disappointed our people in the diaspora because they looked at us, especially in Nigeria, as home. And if they came home now, they will start crying and weeping. Because, look, I got opportunities to live abroad, but for me, I couldn't. The reason I couldn't is this is the best place on earth that God has situated me, and as a filmmaker, my canvas is so broad that I can't find it anywhere else in the world. I'm situated primarily, among a 40 million people God brought together in a space that is starting from the edge of the Sahara and then gradually covering savanna and then forest area with all our rivers, the hill, the valleys, coming down into the lagoon and then ending at the Atlantic Ocean. That's not all. It is the people that in this space that they are most peaceful, talented, educated in the African way and in modern times by education. There was a time we were interrupted by the colonizers and one Abonile Dule. But after that, I've seen us emerge and started our nation. But everything is collapsed. So first of all, we are saying Africa, and that is what Nkrumah, Lumumba, and Sankora, all of them, saw before we are now back into our fifth slavery all over again. Look, the new generation, they don't know, they have the respect this Africa. And they can only do it because God has given us everything that we can do it. We have the technology that can transform our society in 50 or 100 years. When I came from London Film School, I kept, telling people, don't leave because we find a way. We catch up with the Western world in 50 years. Luckily, the technology is coming. We have the knowledge, we have the education, we have our culture to guide us. But look at what we are today. Today, I was amused. I was listening to radio, and they were announcing that a bag of rice will now cost 100,000 naira. And I travel all over. You can see virgin forests untouched and minerals under the ground and everything. What the heck is Africa? And that is why, anytime I get an opportunity to make a film, there must be something in it. There must be some kind of a message in it that emphasizes our greatness. So it's not about making film. No, it's not. At this point, Fela used his music as a weapon.
Yes.
He sang about all these things. So what the hell are we doing? In our responsibility as filmmakers or creatives, it's not just about entertainment. You must, at every point, seize the opportunity to comment, to ask questions, to engage, to battle, if necessary, creatively, the oppressors, the politicians, the society, even ourselves, and then return to Africa. If we return, especially as far as film is concerned, to authentic African stories, that is our goal. That's what the whole world is doing. So why should we abandon our own and be SFA kan mi ò mọ̀ dáadáa ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tó kó sí mi létí ni tí wọ́n máa ń sọ pé ẹni abí wọn mọ́ òun wọn ẹni ẹlẹ́ni ló ń yá wọn lára ìwọ dẹ̀dẹ̀rẹ̀ tí ó ṣe alábàápàdé ẹja. Imagine, it is the hook and the fish. How can they be friends? So look at where the whole world is. Malaysia, don't talk about China, and so on. So what is wrong with us as Africans? So that is the next responsibility. We have everything, to engage, to be part of our own development. We have to take our responsibility, take our bulls by the horn, and move on, and stand up and be proud that I'm a human. I'm human. Enough of all these things going around. So before I say film is a tool. This is one of the weapons we need to fight to put Africa where Africa should be. So that's my message.
Wow, that was profound. And thank you so, so much. Words can, even personally, of course, I would mo máa ṣe pè yín gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ sí bàbá ọ̀rọ̀ èmi àti dádì mi ó yàtọ̀ sí gbangba. But
Daddy call Baba. I
bàbá,
fight over daddy
yes, you are
because
my
I
grandfather,
know
bàbá.
that the word daddy from British means the relationship with only one person, biological father, that's daddy to them. So kí ló ṣe wá èwo ni tí wá ń bẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tá a máa fi bàbá wé daddy. Èmi ò lè daddy o, I tell people.
Ó dà, ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá sọ́mọ àásọ lẹ́yìn ètò. Àmọ́, I want to appreciate you, sir, for your nature, for who you are, for your creative input in life, for the fact that you've even, inspired someone like me. Like the last stage play I had, I wanted you to be on seats. I really wanted, your comments after the play. I know because of time, activities, and all you couldn't, but it is to let you know how much I love and value you, sir. Like it would be my first stage play, and I wanted Sarok Bewela, to be on seat just to say, okay, Dimeji, oh Bashiba, you go back. Like I wanted you. And the reason why I started writing on names like Oniluwo, my next work now will be my son name, Shodeke. I want to do something about that name. Like I'll write a book and see whether I can bring out a stage play. I can't afford cinema, cinema right now, but I can still afford being stage plays. Then I'll move to Biliki Susumbo. When I came across Biliki Susumbo, I was amazed. We never thought about her in school, and I could link her story to Queen of Sheba, and her graveyard is there in Ijebu. How come we sons of let me say just say maybe this new generation, we don't know anything about her? So I really want to start bringing those stories out, even though I'm not going to write it the way our story is. I'll add, of course, I'll add fiction, but people could actually now go and search for that name. Billy Kususumbo Utomani. So I really want to, that's what I also want to do to African consciousness, our black, our reality. So I really appreciate someone like you because you've inspired me, you've motivated me, and you've also made me embrace life from the simple angle, from a very peaceful angle, and from a very conscious angle that we have a responsibility for Africa, and no one is going to come and save us, and we have to still keep using our gifts for Africa. Thank you, sir, for everything. We appreciate you. We love you. We love you. We love you. And Cordelia, we will keep pushing. I'll keep posting. Guys, if you're in Nigeria, please go out. Cordelia is in Silverbed. I'll keep posting Cordelia. Just go and watch. Have fun. Take your girlfriend, your wife, your mom, your family. Go and watch Cordelia. It is a masterpiece. It is, of course, from the household name TK. And when it comes abroad, we are going to bombard that place, storm it. We are going out for Cordelia to watch because it came out from the best, and of course, we want to have best experience. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for saying yes to joining me on Street and
A
Cathedral.
pleasure.
Thank you for your love and your simplicity. I really, really appreciate you. Any parting words for us before I call it a quit, sir?
Well, I just appreciate what you are doing, and I think what you could do is continue doing it. Like I told you, this is the part of what I talked about, the power of technology which God has given to us. We didn't invent anything around it, but at least it's just like the human body, there's the heart and there's the blood going through it. If even we are not the heart, we can use the blood going to people, in every way we can. Every day you must remember who you are. You must remember your culture. You must remember your language. You must retain your identity proudly and help to build Africa.
Thank you very much, sir. And this is where I say bye for now. Ladies and gentlemen, Street and Cathedral, we just had a session with the legend, Tunde Kelani. And
Not legend. No legend.
and we would be having other session in coming weeks. But right now, I want you all to go out for Cordelia. Cordelia is out. You don't want to miss this. Cordelia is out. So please go out, watch Cordelia. Ensure you take your family, your loved ones, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Go out to the cinema. I will keep posting on my status all the details about Cordelia. The next time it's showing, I'll keep posting. Make sure you get a ticket once it's in your city. Ibadan, Lagos, Abuja, anywhere. Go all out and watch Cordelia, and God bless you. Thank you very much, Baba. Thank you so much, sir. And God bless you, sir. Yes, sir.